150 people. Authorities describe the operation as one of the most intricate and extensive subterranean rescue efforts ever attempted. Now for the local weather. It's currently 30 degrees Celsius amid partly cloudy skies in Busan. Overcast skies will continue into the evening, with mercury levels averaging at 27 degrees Celsius. It's time to wrap up this hour's news. Thank you for joining. You're listening to BEFM, 부산영어방송.
Your best choice. BEFM, 부산영어방송.
Coming up next is Steve Hatherly Reboot. BEFM, 부산영어방송.
What you're about to hear is amazing. That's because you're locked in to Busan's #1 English radio station. Whether you're at home, at work, or driving in your car, you will be exposed to radio excellence. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show because it starts right now.
Tourism is a great thing for any city, any country, or any location because it helps to bring money to that community or that place. But as my mother always says, everything in moderation. Tourism can sometimes need to be regulated as well. When a place becomes too popular, then that can lead to overcrowding and also have a detrimental effect on the environment. That is exactly what's happening to a place not too far away from us here in Korea. It's Tuesday, September 12th, 2023. I'm Steve Hatherly. This is Steve Hatherly Reboot. Let's go. That was Hope Tala, All My Girls Like to Fight. And she has come to be known, and you could hear it in that song, for her effortless R&B and neo-soul delivery, reminiscent of great British songstresses before her like Corinne Bailey Rae. Tala remains solidly in her smooth and never forced tone vocally and dances on that Latin rhythm as well. Very effortless singer, right? The best singers, it seems like they are effortless no matter what octave they are singing in. We are live in the studio from Busan on this Tuesday afternoon. Welcome to the show, everyone. You're tuned in on BEFM 90.5 in Busan and 103.3 FM in the Gijang, Jongguan, and Noksan areas. In Seoul on TBS EFM 101.3 and in Gwangju on GFM, that's 98.7. Thank you very much for being with us on this Tuesday afternoon. I am your host, Steve Hatherly. And a quick note about YouTube before we get going today. You can watch our live stream there. Go to youtube.com and search BEFM or Busan영어방송 in Korean. You can watch our live stream all through the show, but when the music starts to play, it will cut out, and that's because of music copyright issues. When the music finishes, when the song is over, then I will come back and you'll be able to hear things as you normally did. If you want to circumvent that problem, if you want to get around that problem, then have your BEFM app open as well. And then when the songs start to play, you can listen to the music through the app or, of course, through FM radio, and then continue to watch our live stream. It's a little bit of multitasking. We acknowledge it's not the most convenient thing for you, and we do apologize for that, but we also appreciate your patience there as well. All right, let's get to what's happening on the show this afternoon. Coming up in hour number one, we'll kick things off with Hot Off the Press. You'll check out some trendy music that has been newly released. I'll give you a little bit about the artist and about the track as well. After that, after around 2:30 or so, it'll be time for Officially Amazing. And Melissa will be here to guide us through some stories of amazing people, amazing accomplishments, or amazing feats from years gone by. Then in hour number two, we're going to talk about over-tourism in Tomorrow Today. And that story will be related to what I've chosen for us for our fun fact today. I found a website. The story, by the way, in Tomorrow Today is about a mountain. Overcrowding, over-tourism on a mountain, in a mountain, on a mountain, around a mountain, up a mountain. Anyway, so I thought I'd go and find some fun mountain facts. And I don't know about you, but sometimes for fun facts about things, I like to read children's websites because the things that kids learn in school is quite interesting, actually. And it's stuff that we adults either didn't know about or have forgotten about. So I found a website that has fun facts for kids about mountains. And I thought, why are they just for kids? What is there an age limit to mountain facts that I didn't know about? Anyway, that's where the title came from. But just some fun little mountain facts that maybe we didn't know about. That'll be for our fun fact of the day. And again, the reason I chose that for our fun fact is because for Tomorrow Today, like I said in the opening of the program, not too far away from us here in Korea, in Japan. Japan, I think their most famous mountain would be Mount Fuji. I'm assuming that's their most famous mountain. I've seen it. I've been there. I didn't go up it, but I witnessed it from afar, so to speak. They're having a problem now. They're having a serious problem with over-tourism, and they're going to have to deal with that very soon to figure out a way to get things back to the way they were. It seems like it's one particular area of the mountain that is the most crowded. I'll give you the details on exactly what's going on in the area of Mount Fuji through Tomorrow Today. We'll also have Today in Music. We'll find out what happened in today's music history, and I will check your messages, of course, throughout the program as well. Good afternoon to Cherish. Cherish is back on the chat after a long time away. She disappeared for a while. She said, "Hi, I just wanted to stop by and let everyone know I was still alive." I said, "Cherish, I assumed you robbed a bank and ran away to Mexico." I like to make up stories in my head if I don't know what's going on, factually speaking. Good afternoon to you as well, Cherish. Thanks for coming back to the show today, even if it's only for a brief moment. You're super busy at work these days, I know. Hannah's here. Hannah Gray is here. Where's Hannah Blue, by the way? Did we lose Hannah Blue? Anybody know? Send me a message and let me know. Ben's listening today. Good afternoon. Ben, good to see you're joining the program this afternoon. All right, here we go, gang. question of the day today. It's a three-parter. So maybe have a pen and a pencil and a piece of paper if you want to write this down quickly. This is from a mini, it's not a personality test per se, but it's an internet test that according to the answers that you provide, it will tell us something about you. Now, of course, we take these with a grain of salt, right? But just for fun's sake, and by the way, the test I think is about 10 or 12 or 15 questions long, but I've shortened it down to 3. So I'll ask you 3 questions, and then you write those down and then text them to me in the group chat or through Kakao, or send it in through a text message as well. And you can just say like number 1, this, number 2, this, or number 3, this. However brief you want to make it is okay with me. Okay, so here we go. Here it is. You are walking in a forest. Number 1, who are you walking with, or with whom are you walking? Number 2, you continue walking with that person and you see an animal. Which animal is it? What kind of animal is it? Number 3, what is that animal doing? Pretty simple, right? Okay, I'll give it to you one more time. You are walking in a forest. Number 1, with whom are you walking in that forest? Number 2, you and that person continue walking. Then suddenly you see an animal. What kind of animal do you see? And number 3, what is that animal doing? What kind of interaction do you have with that animal? No need to think too much about this. There is no right answer. It's simply what comes into your mind. I'm curious to know. All right, let's try this out in Korean and see how I go. 여러분은 지금 숲속을 산책하고 있습니다. 첫 번째 질문. 누구와 함께 걷고 있나요? 두 번째 질문. 걷다가 동물을 봤는데 어떤 동물인가요? 세 번째 질문, 마지막 질문. 그 동물이 무엇을 하나요? Think about your answers, but not too deeply, just whatever comes to your mind, and then text me, #9050. That will cost you 101. Now, PD, you got to do this today, too, okay? I'm curious to know. Kakao Talk, you can send in messages for free. Add us for free as a plus friend there as well. Search BEFM or Busan 영어방송 in Korean. Same search on your smartphone. You can download the app from any of the app stores. You can listen to our programs there and leave us a comment after logging in. That's all the information I think you have to know for right now. So we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll get into today's Hot Off the Press. Here is Maroon 5, This Love. That was Maroon 5, This Love. We're back, and it's time for today's Hot Off the Press, where from Monday to Friday, we bring you two of the newest, hottest tracks from the world of music. And a lot of songs are released every week, but we pick out a couple each and every day that we hope that you'll enjoy. Let's start with a new song from the Rolling Stones. That's cool. This track is called Angry. The Rolling Stones have just debuted a music video for Angry, the first single from their new album. That's called Hackney Diamonds, which features two songs with late drummer Charlie Watts. The 12-track album will be released on October 20th, so we have to wait a little while for that. And its opening trio of songs are co-written by esteemed producer Andrew Watt, who oversaw the last two Ozzy Osbourne albums as well. Some media said Angry is the Rolling Stones' best single in 40 years. I can't wait to hear this. After that, we'll hear the Chainsmokers' new tune, Summertime Friends. The Chainsmokers have released a new single, and this track arrived with a VHS-style music video directed by Spencer Miller. Summertime Friends follows the release of several one-off singles from the band, including Cellular, their most recent LP, So Far So Good. That came out in 2022. Summertime Friends is a song about the relationship between Drew Taggart and his girlfriend, Mari. Here we go with our two tracks for Hot Off the Press today. Brand new from the Rolling Stones, apparently their best song in 40 years, Angry. And after that, the new one from the Chainsmokers, Summertime Friends. were our two tracks for Hot Off the Press today, the Chainsmokers' Summertime Friends, and before that, the Rolling Stones' new tune, Angry. Our question of the day today is a fun one. This is in reference to an online test called the type of test is a relational psychology test. And it's called, I don't want to tell you yet because I don't want you to look it up. I'll tell you in hour number 2. But here are the questions that you have to answer. It's a 3-parter today. So if you haven't sent in your answers yet, get a pencil or a pen and some paper. You might want to write these down unless you're sitting in front of your keyboard and you can send them to me as I'm reading them to you. All right, so here's our question. You are walking in the forest. Number 1, who are you walking with? Number 2, you continue walking with that person and then you see an animal. What type of animal is it? And number 3, the final question, what is the animal doing? 여러분은 지금 숲속을 산책하고 있습니다. 첫 번째 질문, 누구와 함께 걷고 있나요? 두 번째 질문, 걷다가 동물을 봤는데 어떤 동물인가요? 세 번째 마지막 질문, 그 동물이 무엇을 하나요? Think about your answers and then send them to me. All right, let's see what you're saying on this topic so far. Neil says, I'm walking with a stranger. We see a mountain dog, and the dog is barking at me. Okay. Donghyun-nim says, I'm walking with my wife. I see a dog, and he is shaking his tail. Okay, another dog, but a different action with a different person. Ben says, I'm walking in a forest with moving trees like Groot and the Ents from Lord of the Rings. They're ugly, weren't they? Then we run across a unicorn, and it waited to make all my wishes come true from my past, present, and future. I love that answer. Hannah says, I'm walking in the forest with my husband, and I see a cute little monkey swinging high in the trees upside down with its tail, eating a banana. These are fun. I'm not going to tell you what that means just yet. So when we get to hour number 2 at some point, I will analyze your answers. I won't. I'll analyze your answers according to what they say this means according to the test. It's a fun one today, right? Okay, so think about those and then send them to me. Pounder sharp 9050. That's on your cell phone for 101. Add us on Kakao Talk for free. Send messages for free by searching BEFM or 부산영어방송 in Korean. Same search on your smartphone. You can download the app from any of the app stores. You can listen to our programs there and leave us some comments after logging in. It is time for Officially Amazing, and Melissa is here on a Tuesday. How you doing?
Hello. I'm good because it feels like summer.
It's still super sweaty outside, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
actually it is. Is it the humidity? It feels hotter than usual.
Yes, and now air conditioning units are beginning to be turned off.
Why?
In public places.
Oh,
I mean.
I was going to say, not in my house.
Yes,
It's not.
Same here. Okay, excuse me. All right, Melissa, before we get going, you are walking in a forest. Mm-hmm. With whom are you walking?
So maybe I did this wrong. I was picturing myself alone. Is it possible to walk alone? Am I doomed
no,
if I walk alone?
There are no wrong answers.
Okay.
So, Melissa, you're walking alone. Mm-hmm. Okay. You see an animal. What type of animal is it?
I see a little red fox, like the little fox in The Little Prince.
A little red fox. I've never read that.
I actually haven't read it either, but, in Busan, we do have the statue of the Little Prince in, Gamcheon Culture Village? Yeah.
What is the little red fox doing?
He is walking next to me and looking at me.
So walking with you. Walking with you.
So I guess I'm not alone, right? Because I made friends with the little fox.
And looking at you. Okay. I will not tell you what that means. You have to tune into the second hour today.
Okay. I think it means I'm an animal whisperer.
How did you know? Let's get to it. It's time for Officially Amazing, and you are here to bring us some stories of amazing feats, amazing people, amazing accomplishments from years gone by. So what is our topic about today?
Well, even though the calendar says September, the weather still feels summery, right? And I just love summer too much to let it go just yet. So today we're channeling summer vibes with our stories. And what would the months of June, July, and August be be without summer camp, right?
Summer camp, yeah.
Yes. So did you ever go to summer camp as a kid?
Only one time. I had to go to a French camp.
Oh, okay. There's the Canadian coming out, French camp.
Yeah, so the top 2 students in each class from various schools in the area, in French class, the top 2 students in terms of grades.
Okay. So you were a nerd.
Got selected and then chosen to go to French camp. And I remember my reaction was twofold. Number one, I don't want to go.
Really?
And no, it was French camp. I didn't want to go to French camp in the middle of summer. I was on vacation. Why do I want to go back to school? And number 2, I thought, why are they choosing the top 2 students? Why don't they choose the bottom 2 students? Those would be the people that need more help in the language area, I would think.
But it's supposed to be an honor, isn't it?
Well, when you're in the 5th grade, does honor have any meaning to you?
True.
I don't think
Touche.
it didn't to me. But you know what? It turned out I had a great time. Summer camps are really, really fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Did you go to one when you were a kid?
Yes, I went to several. I went to leadership camp.
Oh, I was going to guess you went to some sort of
right. I went for 2 years because I was in student council.
I knew it. Some sort of future president's camp.
Yeah, it surprises no one. And then in high school, because also I was a nerd, only 2 students are selected from each school in the state to go to what we call Badger Girls State.
Which is?
Again, like a leadership camp.
Like a scouts type thing?
Not scouts. It's like put on by the government. It's kind of like government sponsored. You learn about politics and like the judicial system, which is, like lawyers and judges and the law. And so I went to that in high school.
It's pretty cool. That didn't inspire a career in politics for you?
No. So actually, I wanted to be a lawyer, and I started out university pre-law, but luckily saw the writing on the wall with this is a lot of student debt. In the U.S., it's like 1억 부터, right? Like 100,000 starting. And then also I was just worried, like getting a job. And when I graduated, or when I would have graduated law school, is right when everything was crashing. Bullet dodged.
You made the right decision,
yes,
huh?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so summer. Going back to summer camps, then why did you ask me if I had ever been to one?
So, adult summer camps. This maybe is not something we've thought of. Have you ever gone to or even heard of a summer camp for an adult?
I did not know that they existed.
Oh, they exist.
I don't even know what this could possibly mean. An adult summer camp.
Yes. So they might not always be called a summer camp. So, for example, the nonprofit Salvation Army, they do a lot of weekend camps for adults that they refer to as a retreat. But those events are notably different from like children at camp. However, this summer, adult versions of the typical children's summer camp, they emerged, or we could say they became more famous. And it's primarily a way to make new friends and remember the joys of childhood.
Oh, so it's for adults, but yet still designed in a childlike kind of way.
Yes.
That's fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have a clip here. Here's what one camper said about why they decided to sign up for adult summer camp.
It is kind of fun to go to this weird place in the middle of nowhere where you don't really have any cell phone reception and have an organization take care of your meals and your drinks and your fun. There's something really pure and beautiful about that experience.
I can totally see that, how it would be really, really popular because it's kind of like when you go on a cruise, maybe, right? You have the opportunity to meet new friends and enjoy new experiences. But this, you get to meet new friends, but you're whisked back to your childhood days, to things that you used to do for fun when you were a kid. So you can kind of forget about your adult life for maybe a week or so. I'm not sure how long these are, but I get the attraction for sure.
Definitely. So a lot of these, their objective is they want to try to just slow down and meet new people, meet new friends, right? As we get older, new jobs, new cities, it gets hard to make new friends. But also, so some of the camps, for the record, some are only men, some are only women, some are co-ed. They do have some common elements, no matter which kind of camp you're going to. So, for example, children, that camp would be Monday to Saturday. But
Okay.
these adult camps are generally all Friday afternoon or evening until Sunday.
Right.
And presumably, right, because vacation time is scarce for adults, and a long weekend would be much more doable. But also, these camps usually ban phones, or intentionally they locate themselves in places that don't have good cell phone service.
Okay.
So your focus is really meeting new people and trying new activities and really just recapture that joy. That's the emphasis.
I can see you doing something like this because I think you told me one day about how you took a trip to Japan to go to some kind of doll exhibition and you met
Yes.
some new friends there, and you really enjoyed the experience. So I can see you doing something like this. Would you sign up for something like this?
Really, I'm surprised to hear you say that because I am very introverted, and this kind of camp, if it were related to the monchis, I would, but just this kind of camp, little bit scared.
Yeah.
But I mean, depending on what the theme was, maybe I would.
I don't see myself doing this.
Why not? The introvert comes out.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like to control. It's like when you make a peanut butter sandwich.
Okay.
Let me use a different food culture example. It's like when you're eating 탕수육, and you don't pour the sauce on the 탕수육, which you should never do, right?
Right,
It's for
'cause
dip.
it's-
It's a dipping sauce.
Agreed.
You take the 탕수육 and you dip it in the sauce. You can control the sauce distribution. When I make friends, I like to control the friendship distribution. If I'm
Okay.
thrust into a camp of 100 people, that's like taking the piece of 탕수육 and dipping it all the way down to the bottom of the sauce and leaving it down there for 5 minutes before you bring it out. And that's just suffocating.
Yes, you know what? I can completely see that. I mean, I don't know, for those of you listening, if this is like shocking to hear from Steve, I think meeting you in person, this makes total sense.
Oh, really?
Yes, you definitely do not seem like the person who would be
Friendly?
No, it's because I am also an introvert, so I can, sense when other people are introverts. And yeah, it's not that you're not friendly. It's just that you're maybe like a little bit more hesitant. You're not like, oh, hey, oh, it's so great to meet you. Ah!
Yeah, that's not PD. That's can't slow that guy down, huh?
So yeah, that's him. Yes, definitely, all over the room. But yeah, I think for introverts, this might be scary, but probably good.
But,
Most people
well,
like
I was
this
going to say,
experience.
for introverts, yeah, you're right. Scary, but a really good step outside of your comfort zone, right?
Yes.
Comfort zone for me in the second half of 2023, and we're getting off topic here a little bit, I apologize. But that's kind of my theme a little bit for the
Okay.
second half of this year, is just trying to kind of broaden my horizons, step out of my comfort zone a little bit. So you know what? Maybe if this opportunity were to be presented, maybe it's something that we should try to do.
Yes.
If you're the type of person that would be shy about it. All right, we're talking Officially Amazing today with Melissa, and we'll continue after this from Vance Joy, Riptide. That was Vance Joy with Riptide, and today with Melissa in Officially Amazing. Well, before the break, we were talking about adult summer camps and the fact that they're becoming very popular. Popular in the United States, by the way.
Yes, and also Canada.
Oh, interesting. I don't think I've heard of anything like that here in Korea, but I can kind of see that being a fun summer activity for people.
Right? I think especially if we're sticking to that weekend, right? The Friday afternoon or evening through Sunday, because a lot of people could make that work. And maybe that's kind of like the refresher that you need.
And a lot of people are members of clubs here too, right?
Oh,
Like
yes.
book clubs or restaurant clubs. Or
Soccer teams.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so where are we going now? What are we talking about next?
Well, so I wanted to talk more about what things people do specifically at these kind of adult summer camps. And of course, it's different depending on the camp, but, you know, swimming, water sports, these kinds of things are available. But they also have classes. So I think especially if we were to have this kind of camp in Korea, this would be the way to go, right? With all these classes like cooking classes, yoga, motivational lectures, and then the traditional relay races and team sports like tug of war, right? Nothing is more camp than tug of war.
Yeah, right. So it sounds like a combination of classes or things that people like to do as adults combined with things that kids enjoyed at summer camp when they were young.
Yes, yes. So there is a lot of overlap there, but one big contrast from children's summer camp is the availability of alcohol. There is free-flowing beer available on chartered buses taking campers from point A to B.
You know what? I've thought about it, Melissa, and I think it is something I might be interested in.
Okay, now that we know there's beer on the bus.
My wife learned this lesson very early on in our relationship. One day she said, Steve, I realized something. Whenever I want you to do something that you don't want to do, I just say, there's beer there. And I say, okay. I mean,
nice.
So whatever, because she loves jjimjilbangs, and I really don't like jjimjilbangs. But she said, you can enjoy a beer while you're there. I said, well, okay, I guess I can go. Or whatever.
That's nice of you. See, I am not a jjimjilbang person either. So even if I was lured with sengmek, I would say, meh, no,
You pass.
I don't want to go. Yeah, but there's also cocktail hours and meals, which apparently surprisingly delicious.
Oh, they have nice
adult camp.
Nice chefs as well, huh?
Yes. So here's what an adult camper from Connecticut, USA said about the adult camp that she attended with her boyfriend.
And then we headed to beginners tennis, where there is a tennis pro. Like, he literally used to play professionally, and he's just teaching you how to play tennis, and he's running drills, and it's so much fun. It was really, really hot though. Wear your sunscreen. You then go to lunch, which again had 20 different options. I think I had like a quesadilla, piece of pizza, ham sandwich, fruit, and then for the rest of the afternoon we actually just had a very chill day. We just got to sit by the lake, and it's just so calm and relaxing, and it was great.
I was gonna say that in the beginning of your description, it kind of sounded like a package tour.
Right.
Right? Where
Yes.
you're required to do the swimming. You're required to do the cooking class. You're required to do the tug of war. And I was thinking, maybe this would be a little bit too much. You have a jam-packed day, but then we just heard at the end of that clip, you have lots of free time to just kind of sit around and enjoy nature, enjoy the lake, or what have you.
Yes, so I think this is a big contrast from the kid camp, because the kid camps, you have to do everything, right? There's a schedule. But this particular camp that she went to in Connecticut, she was saying there were different options. And from what I've seen, the camps in New York, in Toronto, they have options. Like, here's all the different classes available at this time, and then choose what you want to do, and then also some relaxing time. But if you're paying to attend camp as an adult, the campsites, maybe not super comfortable. They might have shared bunks or cabins or whatever. But the food, everybody said, food was very good.
Okay, so that's a good thing to know. You're not going to stay in 5-star accommodations.
No, definitely not.
You're camping. It's a summer camp.
Yes, some of them, yeah, very primitive. You've got the children's bunk beds. Others, they seemed, rustic and very nice, a little bit more private, like private bathrooms, but totally depends on the camp.
What if summer camp isn't your thing?
Yes, well, summer also makes me think of bargain hunting in a way that's actually illegal in Korea, garage sales and yard sales.
Garage sales and yard sales are illegal in Korea.
Yes.
I did not know that.
You can't privately sell things out of your home. You have to have a business address.
But they have second-hand apps where you can
Yes.
sell your stuff. That's
So-
the same thing, isn't it?
Online sales a little bit different because maybe, you're selling, for example, a used smartphone and it's just one thing and then you meet at, let's say, a subway station and sell it. But for the garage sale or yard sale, you have all your stuff organized on a table and it's a bunch of stuff. And then people just randomly walk by or visit your location and then just look around and see, is there anything I want to buy?
Gotcha.
Like this.
Okay, yeah, so garage sales, these are really, really common in Canada and the United States before a family moves.
Right.
Right? Instead of throwing stuff away, they'll have a yard sale where literally in their front yard, they'll put out tables and sell stuff and it's usually for very, very cheap, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So 50 cents
Yeah.
or Korean chanan,
Yeah.
this kind of thing.
Exactly.
So, if you want to do this kind of thrift shopping, it might not really be easy in one specific location because not many sales. But if this is what you're interested in, I have the perfect summer activity for you. The world's longest yard sale. It is a 690-mile or 1,110 kilometer long yard sale with literally countless stalls.
The flea market or the yard sale is 1,110 kilometers long. Where is this?
Yes. So this is called the Iron Man of Thrifters. It's in the U.S. It goes across 6 U.S. states.
What?
It's a 4-day event. So this year it was August 3rd through the 6th. And most people who go to this yard sale, they try to see all 1,110 kilometers of booths selling everything from clothes and decorations, dishes, toys, all of that.
How can you see 1,000 kilometers worth of stuff in a few days?
So there's an official map. It is not solid, 1,110 kilometers, that you would just end up walking. You do drive a little bit between each area.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, there is an official map. Basically, it's around Route 127. The main area is Tennessee. So it started in Tennessee. But it started because they wanted to bring business off the major roads and into smaller towns. So people in those smaller towns, they set up booths along that Route 127.
What a wonderful idea. Like a 3 or 4 day event. You do a little road trip and just follow that road of yard sales or like a flea market trip. And then you can pick up some great stuff for yourself. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Right? It sounds like my dream. If you want to do this kind of sale, you do have to start early, though. So because it's August, it's hot. Some sellers, they shut down by 1 p.m. And also you have to have cash. Tennessee is the highlight. They got food trucks there. So anyway, if you want to go, the world's longest yard sale.
Sounds like fun. Do that after you finish your adult summer camp, right?
Yes,
All right.
definitely.
Melissa, thank you so much. You enjoy your week, and we'll see you again next time.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
Stay with us for hour number 2 to finish the first today. It's Samuel Jack, Feels Like Summer.
BEFM 부산 영어방송.
구 년 전, 한국에서의 새로운 출발을 위해 부산을 처음 찾은 프랭크. 부산의 자연과 사람, 부산에서 누리는 모든 것을 사랑하는 그는 부산의 변함없는 한대에 늘 감탄합니다.
I think that Busan people are actually very, very kind and very welcoming. If I seemed a little lost, there was always someone that was there to ask me if I needed help. They're more seriously friendly than it's very serious. I very seriously want to help you.
부산의 한결같은 모습도 늘 감동을 주지만 이제는 부산의 미래를 꿈꾸며 2030년 부산의 새로운 도약을 기대합니다.
Busan people are very proud of their city. They want to share the city with everyone. If we get the World Expo, it'll really put Busan on a global map.
세계 박람회가 어울리는 도시, 미래를 향한 힘찬 도약. 부산에서 출발한 파도는 이미 세계를 향해 뻗어나가고 있습니다. 2030 부산 세계 박람회. 부산이 시작하고 대한민국이 함께 이뤄갑니다. 이 캠페인은 지역과 함께하는 든든한 동반자 BNK 부산은행과 함께합니다.
엑스포, 세계를 놀라게 할 준비됐습니까? 세상에 없던 세상을 바꿀 당신이 처음 만나는 새로운 엑스포의 시작. 오늘의 세상을 바꾸고 내일의 상상을 펼쳐갈 세계를 열광시킬 단 하나의 엑스포. 대한민국 첫 번째 월드클래스 엑스포 2030 부산 세계 박람회. 새로운 엑스포를 원해? 부산에 유치해.
김밥가게 박 사장님도 문구점 김 사장님도 우리 부산의 경제를 움직이는 사람들. 우리 동네 작은 가게로 향하는 발걸음이 우리 부산의 경제를 키워가는 한 걸음입니다. 부산 방송광고 발전 협의회.
The time is now 3 o'clock.
You're listening to Steve Hatherly Reboot on BEFM 90.5. That was Alana Miles, Love Is. Boy, we don't hear Alana Miles on the radio much anymore. That was kind of nice to hear. Love Is was the debut single by the Canadian singer and songwriter, released in Canada in 1989. She has won both a Grammy and a Juno Award for the song Black Velvet. I think that's her maybe best known song. This song was a top 10 hit in Canada. It was also a number one hit on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100 in 1990. She is the daughter of William Douglas Biles, who was a pioneer in the Canadian broadcasting industry and was inducted into the Canadian Association of Broadcasters Hall of Fame in 1997. So I guess being in the spotlight kind of was in her family, so maybe she grew up with aspirations of being a singer. Nice tune to get us into the second hour of Steve Hatherly Reboot on this Tuesday afternoon. You're tuned in on BEFM 90.5 in Busan and 103.3 FM in the Gijang, Zhongguan, and Noksan areas in Seoul, on TBS EFM 101.3 and in Gwangju on GFN 98.7. Just a quick reminder about YouTube. You can watch our live stream there. Go to youtube.com and search BEFM or Busan영어방송 in Korean. You can watch our live stream there until the songs start to play. After that, they'll cut out. That's for copyright issues, but you can listen to those songs on our app or, of course, through FM radio as well. All right, so let's talk about what's coming up in hour number 2 today. For our fun fact of the day, it's a little shorter today. It's quite brief. It's just some fun little facts about mountains. I found this children's website, not really maybe a children's education website last night. I was doing mountain fun fact searches. And that's what the website was titled, or the article was titled, For Kids. And I don't know why it was for kids. Mountain facts are for everyone, aren't they? Anyway, so it's going to be like taking us back to elementary school today. I will be your elementary school mountain teacher, and you will be the students, and hopefully we can learn a couple of mountain facts together today. After that, tomorrow today, and this is why we're doing mountain facts for our fun fact of the day. For tomorrow today, they're having a problem in Japan with Mount Fuji. Over-tourism. It's become a big hot button issue for the mountain itself. And it's one particular area of the mountain, as a matter of fact, that has become so popular. Now they're having a problem with overcrowding. And then with overcrowding comes a whole lot of other problems, right? So we'll talk about what's happening with Mount Fuji in Japan through our segment Tomorrow Today. After that, we'll have Today in Music. We'll find out what happened in today's music history, and I will check your messages throughout hour number 2 as well. All right, our question of the day today, it's a little bit unique, isn't it? I'm asking you a threefold question. And this question is part of a test. And the name of the test is a Walk in the Woods Test, Relational Psychology Test. Now, this is to be taken with a grain of salt, obviously. This is like those, well, I don't know if it's the same of, those BuzzFeed quizzes, like, which kind of ice cream are you? Those are so stupid, but yet they're kind of fun too, right? This is a little tiny bit along those lines. Maybe this would be like somewhere between what kind of ice cream are you and the Myers-Briggs personality test. Maybe in the gray area in between. It's not meant to be taken seriously at all. And this test is, oh goodness, maybe 10, 15 questions, but I've just cut it down to 3. And I can tell you, as we get closer to the end of the show today, what your answers say about you. So, if you've just turned on your radio in this second hour, prepare your pen and paper very quickly, like now, and I'll give you your 3 questions. You have to answer these 3 questions and then send them to me. Question number 1. Well, you are walking in a forest. That is the scene. You are walking in a forest. Question number 1. Who are you walking in the forest with? Number 2. With that person, you continue walking, and you see an animal. What kind of animal do you see? And question number 3, the last question, what does the animal do? What is the animal doing? What type of interaction do you have with the animal? All right, I'll give that to you in Korean. 여러분 지금 숲속을 산책하고 있습니다. 첫 번째 질문, 누구와 함께 걷고 있나요? 두 번째 질문, 걷다가 동물을 봤는데 어떤 동물인가요? 세 번째, 마지막 질문, 그 동물이 무엇을 하나요? Think about that, but not too seriously. Just whatever answers come to your mind. Whatever answers you think of apparently represent something about you. Text me, # 9050. That's on your cell phone for 101. Add us on Kakao Talk for free. Send messages for free by searching BEFM or 부산영어방송 in Korean. On your smartphone, you can download the app from any of the app stores. You can listen to our programs there and leave us some comments after logging in. All right, so let's check some more of your answers, shall we? Okay, so you're walking in a forest. We'll go over Silly. Silly sent in their answer. Silly said, I'm walking in the forest with Jin Young, who is another listener of Steve Hatherly Reboot. I see a panda, and the panda is ordained, so the panda marries us. Okay, that's unique. I will tell you what that says about you at the end of the show. I'm ordained too, I think. Well, I did it. I married someone. Have I told you that? I think I told you that before. Napi, did you know that? I am an ordained minister. I can legally marry you if you want, which you don't. That was a very short meeting. I went on the internet and you did the website thing, and then they give it to you in like 5 minutes, right? But anyway, yeah. If I didn't tell you that before, now you know. Other answers. Jin Young, all right. Well, Silly gave his answer, so let's see, or her answer. I don't know if Silly is a guy or a girl. Jin Young says, I am walking alone. That's what Melissa said. I'm walking alone. I'm walking alone and I see a small black panther. And the panther is reading a book. All right. Haeun said, this is unique. Haeun says, I am walking in the forest with Paulie Gautieri from The Sopranos, the character from The Sopranos. We see 100 baby turtles and they are eating some grass. Okay. Cherish says, I'm walking in the forest with someone special. We see a young deer and the young deer is eating plants. This is fun. I'm enjoying these answers today. So send them in and let me know what your answers are. Pingsu, there's one more I've got to read out now. Pingsu says, I'm walking in the forest with Nick Greenwood. Who's Nick Greenwood? Let me look that up super quickly. Nick Greenwood. I'm walking in the forest with Nick Greenwood, and we meet a quokka, and the quokka is taking a picture with two men. I don't know what a quokka is, and I don't know who. Oh, Nick from the 4 p.m. duo. Oh, Nick, I apologize to Nick. I was immediately thinking like some celebrity. So that's where my mind went. Okay, you're going with Nick. Oh, poor David. Where's David in this scenario? Well, now I have to move on and find out what a quokka is, but I guess I'll do that during a song break. Anyway, good answers. Tell me, what are yours to that question? You're walking in a forest. Who are you walking with? Number 2, you continue walking. You see an animal. And then number 3, what does that animal do? Text me through any of the ways that I sent you before. All right. Let's get to our expression of the day today. This is from King the Land. And in this scene, this is a continuation of the scene that we had yesterday, where the manager of the duty-free shop at the airport is getting angry at her staff. And the staff is saying, oh, I'm sorry for this situation. And the manager, she says, all right, well, you all have to work on the weekends now. There's no break time. You cannot take any time off. We learned that expression yesterday. And this is what she says next.
마지막이야. 한 번만 더 이러면 나도 배려 안 해?
마지막이야. 한 번만 더 이러면 나도 배려 안 해. All right, so this, we'll go through it a little bit from the beginning to the end and see what we can see. 마지막이야. This is the last time. 마지막 means last. 마지막이야. This is the last time. 한 번만 더, one more time, 이러면, do like this. 나도 배려 안 해. I will not do good things for you. I will not care about this. I will not be considerate about this. But the translation, I think, is really, really good. The translation sounds like this. I won't let it slide next time. So that's the expression I wanted to focus on here. To let something slide. To let something slide means something bad has happened, but there are no repercussions. There is no punishment. You just kind of let it go or forget about it. That's the meaning of to let it slide. An easy example is if you come to work late, maybe 10 minutes late, and your manager is like, hey, I noticed you were not sitting at your desk this morning at 9 o'clock. You can say, yeah, I'm sorry, I was a little bit late. Listen, can you just let it slide this time? Meaning, don't give me a speech. Don't get angry at me. Don't criticize me. Just let it go. That's what it means to let it slide. One more time. 마지막이야. 한 번만 더 이러면 나도 배려 안 해. If this happens again, I will not let it slide. Let's hear it one more time.
마지막이야. 한 번만 더 이러면 나도 배려 안 해.
마지막이야. 한 번만 더 이러면 나도 배려 안 해. The last part of my little mini segment every day is me trying to read it at the same speed that the character says it, and I fail 100% of the time. But that's okay, because on this show, we learned that failure is a good thing for us, right? Anyway, that's your expressions. Those are your expressions for today. Hopefully that helps out your English or your Korean a little tiny bit. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll have our fun fact of the day. It's a shorter one today. We'll learn just a few little factoids about mountains. Here are the Goo Goo Dolls' Slide. That was the Goo Goo Dolls Slide, and now it's time to go to school. Back to elementary school, grade 1, grade 2. I'm guessing that's where these fun facts are taught in public schools around the world. But I found it last night because when we get to Tomorrow Today, which is kind of a serious story from Japan about the problems that Mount Fuji is having right now, I thought, well, let's see if we can learn maybe one or two little things about mountains that we didn't know. So let's start with a definition. If I asked you, do you know what a mountain is? You would say, yeah, of course I do. But if I asked you, can you define a mountain? I wouldn't be able to do that. So this little fun fact to get us started today is something that I didn't know. The dictionary, it defines a mountain as that which is higher and steeper than a hill. Okay, we knew that. A mountain is a landform that rises high above the surrounding terrain in a limited area. We knew that too. We also knew that they are made from rocks and earth. But this is what I did not know. Generally, mountains are higher than 600 meters. Anything less than 600 meters is still called a hill. So you could have a 580-meter formation, but it still technically would be called a hill. That's pretty big to be called a hill. So I guess there are some giant hills out there. And conversely, if that hill suddenly crosses over to 602 meters, well, that would be considered a mountain. But by a mountain's definition, that would be considered a really small mountain, right? Anyway, mountains, they usually have steep, sloping sides, kids, and they're sharp and slightly rounded in their ridges and their peaks, and some can be rocky and barren, and some have trees growing on their sides, and very high mountains have snow on their peaks. Some common features of mountains include the summit or the top, the slope or the side of it, and a very steep valley between young mountains that is known as a... Everyone answered together? Gorge. I didn't know that. I've heard that word before, but I didn't know that was the definition, that kind of empty space between two cliff sides. That's called a mountain gorge. So this is kind of cool to know. Mountains exist on every continent and even beneath our oceans. Some of the highest mountains are at the bottom of the sea. Did you know this? I did not. Hawaii is at the top of a volcanic mountain in the Pacific Ocean. I did not know Hawaii was at the top of a mountain. I had no idea about that. More than half of the mountain is below water. That's cool to know. The largest range of mountains is in the Atlantic Ocean. Mountains cover 1/5 of the Earth's land surface and occur in 75% of the world's countries. That's interesting to know too, isn't it? 75% of countries in the world, they have mountains in them. Of course, here in Korea, very well known for its mountains. In Canada, too, we have the Rockies. On the east, or on the west, we have the Appalachian Mountain Range on the east coast? And then in Newfoundland, if you've ever been to Newfoundland, and maybe you haven't, Newfoundland has some stunning, absolutely stunning mountains and beautiful drives through the mountains as well. Newfoundland is the easternmost province in Canada. Okay, let's do a couple of more before we finish up this one. Some mountains are formed through various causes, and there are several distinct types. Mountains are formed by slow but gigantic movements of the Earth's crust. The Earth's crust is the outer layer of the Earth. The Earth's crust is made up of 6 huge slabs called plates, and those plates fit together like a jigsaw puzzle. When 2 slabs of the Earth's crust smash into each other, the land is pushed upwards, forming mountains. Many of the greatest mountain ranges in the world have been formed because of enormous collisions between 2 continents. The Earth's crust is the outer part of it. I think I needed a refresher course on that one. 5 basic types of mountains. Number 1, fault block mountains. Number 2, fold mountains. 3, upwarped mountains. 4, volcanic mountains. I guess those are the main 4. These different types of mountains, they not only distinguish the physical characteristics of the mountain, but also how they were formed as well. The biggest mountains in the world, number 1 is Everest. I've never had any aspirations to climb up Everest or do any type of hiking like that or mountain climbing like that. It is the highest point in the Himalayas and the highest known point in the world. It's located on the border between Nepal and Tibet. The altitude is 8,848 meters, and the ascent to the top of Everest is considered to be one of the most prestigious achievements in mountaineering and brings in climbers from all over the world. There are lots of documentaries about climbing Mount Everest. It's quite expensive as well. It's not like $1,000 or $2,000. I think it's somewhere. I can look that up. I can search that actually. Actually, Napidi, if you wouldn't mind, can you do a quick search on that? How much does it cost if you want to climb to the top of Mount Everest? I think it's something like $30,000 maybe. That's what you have to pay. But Everest is the tallest. Do you know number two? The second highest in the world? I've heard of this, of course, but I didn't know it was ranked number two. The answer to that question is, well, why don't you send me your answers, actually? Let's see. Let's add another little quiz question to this. Text me and let me know. Everest is the highest mountain point in the world. What is the second highest? I have no prize for you, but I'll be impressed if you know without looking it up. We'll leave it there for our fun fact of the day. Last little factoid about that. If you want to climb to the top of Mount Everest, according to pricing data from Exped Review, I don't know what that is, a particular website. If you want to climb to the top of Mount Everest in 2023, it's going to cost you, get this, $58,000. 5,800만 원. If you want to go to the top of Everest. If I'm paying 5,800만 원, I don't just want to go to the top of Mount Everest. I have to live there for at least a year and maybe two. Anyway, some fun little factoids there about mountains, right? Don't forget, text me right now and tell me what is the second highest mountain point in the world after Everest. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll get into tomorrow today. We'll go to Japan and we'll talk about the troubles that Mount Fuji is experiencing right now. Here is Lifehouse, Halfway Gone. That was Lifehouse, Halfway Gone. I gave you a little mini quiz question, didn't I, before that last break? The second highest, Everest is the highest mountain point in the world, and the second highest is K2. K2 is the second highest in the world, and they say that K2 is almost, well, not impossible to hike, but it's extremely challenging for mountain climbers because of the extreme weather conditions, the steep slopes, and the poor access as well. And from watching different documentaries, and I do enjoy watching those. You know, I've seen documentaries about K2 and about Mount Everest and how harrowing it can be to try to get to the top. The weather conditions can change just like that, and that can make things all the more dangerous for climbers as well. All right, so this is a story from Japan for Tomorrow Today, and we're going to talk about how Mount Fuji is in trouble. Have you been there before? When I went to Japan, I've been to Japan a few times, and I visited I didn't really visit Fuji, to be honest with you. I went to the community, the town. I forget the name of the town, but anyway, the mountain was right there in front of me. And the really cool thing, I guess, about Mount Fuji is its symmetry. It's perfectly symmetrical. It's really cool to look at. I had no interest in walking to the top of it, but just looking at it from afar was really kind of cool to see, just because it is that perfectly symmetrical shape. Anyway, it's in trouble these days. When Mount Fuji was added to the list of UNESCO World Heritage Sites in 2013, the International Council on Monuments and Sites, called ICOMOS, UNESCO's advisory organ, they urged mountain officials to manage the crowds. They made that recommendation 10 years ago. However, the number of visitors to the mountain's popular fifth hiking station has more than doubled from 2 million in 2012 to over 5 million visitors in 2019. And since the annual climbing season opened in Japan just a couple of months ago in July, around 65,000 hikers have reached the summit. That's an increase of 17% from 2019. And officials say that a post-COVID tourism boom has brought thousands more to the mountain. And as Mount Fuji marks the 10th anniversary of its UNESCO designation this year, they fear that the environmental situation has reached a, quote, critical point. Over-tourism and all of the subsequent consequences like rubbish, garbage, rising CO2 emissions, and reckless hikers, that's the biggest problem facing Mount Fuji, according to experts. So then what is the biggest problem? Or perhaps I should say, where on the mountain is the biggest problem? Well, Mount Fuji has 10 hiking stations, and the fifth one, called Gogome, if I'm saying that correctly, is located roughly halfway up the 3,776-meter mountain. It receives 90% of the mountain's visitors, most of whom take buses, taxis, and EV cars from Tokyo along a particular line, along a particular mountain road to get there. Isn't that something? So there's 10 hiking stations on the mountain, but 90% of the people who visit go to hiking station number 5. That obviously is the most popular place for people to go. Built almost 60 years ago amid Japan's era of motorization, the line that visitors and families can access the mountain from is kind of a halfway point up the mountain. It allowed people across the country to experience Mount Fuji. So people can drive, or at least take some sort of transportation, to a point halfway up the mountain. This is why station number 5 is the most popular. And it makes sense, right? People want to experience the mountain, but they're not true mountain climbers. They're not true hikers, so they drive halfway up the mountain, park their car, and then maybe hike a little bit and look around a little bit and take some pictures. That's why that place is so popular. But now, visitors, according to one official, they can no longer take private cars up to the 5th station unless those cars are fully electric. But that has resulted in more buses, bringing large groups of visitors to the station. So officials on Fuji tried to come up with a solution to this, saying, all right, well, we have too many cars up here now, so let's change it. They can't come unless they're electric. So the public responded with, well, Okay, if we can't bring our car, let's try to take a bus because there's no rules on the number of buses that can get up there. The hordes of hikers are also putting the mountain's limited toilet facilities and 4 medical stations under increasing pressure. At the busy fifth station, as busloads of hikers swarm toward the trail, the most popular of the mountain's 4 routes. It's called the Yoshida Trail. Apparently, that is number 1. There are employees there that urge people to donate 1,000 yen to keep the mountain clean. That's about $7 or maybe roughly around 8,000 won, around there, maybe 9,000 won, I'm not sure. But anyway, one quote from an official said, "It's like Disneyland. There are just too many people. And the problem is not everyone pays the 1,000 yen. And it makes me sad. There should be a mandatory entrance fee that's much, much higher so only visitors who truly appreciate Mount Fuji's heritage can come." I mean, I guess we shouldn't be surprised by this. And I'm not talking particularly about Fuji. I'm just talking about over-tourism in general. Before the pandemic, we were locked down. Not everywhere, of course, and not here in Korea, but emotionally, I think. Even if we were allowed to get out of our homes, we were still in a prison, so to speak. After COVID, we should have expected this, that the more popular places for people to travel, the more popular places for tourists to get to, well, there would be a rush of people. And with that comes a plethora of problems. If they want to make this 1,000 yen mandatory instead of a suggested donation, maybe that's a step they can take, but I'm not sure about the legalities in Japan, if that would be allowed for them to do to enforce that 1,000 yen price or not. But there you go. If you do go to Japan and if you do go to Fuji, maybe stay away from number 5 station, hiking station number 5, choose a different one. But if you do go to any of those stations, maybe donate that $7, that 8,000, 9,000 won, that 1,000 yen, because they're going to use that money to help clean up the mountain and keep it in as good condition as they possibly can. But that's what's happening right now. Hopefully they'll find a solution to that problem. That is it for Tomorrow Today. When we come back, it'll be time for Today in Music. Here is Rockwell's Somebody's Watching Me. was Rockwell, Somebody's Watching Me, and now it's time for Today in Music. Let's have a look at the calendar, go back in time, and see what happened musically speaking. It is September 12th today. Wow, September 12th already. We're a third of the way, more than a third of the way through this month, almost halfway through the month of September. October coming soon. I always do that, don't I? I always look ahead too fast. I need to remember mindfulness. Enjoy this 12th day of September and stop looking forward. Anyway, let's start in 1963. The Beatles scored their second number one on the UK singles chart with She Loves You. The song was not only the UK's highest selling single of the decade, but remains the Fab Four's best-selling single in their home country. That was 1963. 12 years later, in 1975, Pink Floyd released their ninth studio album, Wish You Were Here, in the UK. The album, which explores themes of absence, the music business, and former bandmate Syd Barrett's mental decline, peaked at number one on both sides of the Atlantic and went on to spend a total of 84 weeks on the chart. In 1995, Lenny Kravitz released his fourth studio album called Circus. The lead single, Rock and Roll Is Dead, was nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Male Rock Vocal Performance. In 2003, Johnny Cash, that's when he passed away at the age of 71, leaving behind a legacy of foundational music with a catalog that spanned country, folk, blues, rockabilly, and rock hits. Rising to fame in the mid-1950s, the Man in Black, as he was called, would go on to release nearly 100 albums and more than 150 singles, including Folsom Prison Blues, Ring of Fire, and Walk the Line. In 2012, after years of mainstream popularity, considerable airplay, and being nominated for numerous awards, Matchbox 20 finally got their due on the charts with the number one debut on the Billboard album charts with North. And finally, and we'll stop here for today, in 2013, Ray Dolby, the U.S. engineer who founded Dolby Laboratories and pioneered noise reduction in audio recordings, he passed away at the age of 80. The analog Dolby noise reduction system works by increasing the volume of low-level, high-frequency sounds during recording and correspondingly reducing them during playback. Interesting to know. We see that word, that name, all the time, Dolby, and now we know where it comes from. That is the end of Today in Music for today. Let's hear a couple of tunes from the artists we talked about. Let's hear Johnny Cash's version of Hurt, and then Lenny Kravitz, Rock and Roll Is Dead. Lenny Kravitz, Rock and Roll is Dead, and before that, Johnny Cash's very, very haunting version of Hurt. Today, I asked you 3 questions, right? There's a reason I was doing this. Number 1, you're walking in a forest. With whom are you walking? Number 2, you see an animal. What is the animal? And number 3, what is the animal doing? And again, this is from the Walk in the Woods psychology test. So here is the meaning of your answers. The person that you are walking with is the most important person in your life. Number 2, the size of the animal you come across is a representation of the size of your problems. And number 3, if your action was severe, it means you tend to be more aggressive. If it was peaceful, then more passive, meaning the interaction with the animal. Okay, let's go back to your answers and see what we can find out about you. Afternoon, Steve says this message. Jeffrey NYC here. Oh my goodness, long time no hear from you, Jeff. I'm walking with my son. Okay, your son, most important person in your life. We see a dog. My son loves dogs. The size of the animal represents the size of your problems. Not too big, Jeff. And the dog looks surprised as we were looking at each other in a forest. Okay, that seems more peaceful than aggressive. So not very aggressive at all. Nice answers. Okay, let's check out Jin Young's answers. I'm walking alone. The person you're walking with is the most important person in your life. Jin Young, you are the most important person in your life. You see a small black panther, meaning small problems, who is reading a book. Very passive and not aggressive at all. Nice. For me, I said, I'm walking with you. That means you are the most important person in my life. You know what, though? If you dig deep into my psychology, my audience, not the number 1 most important person in my life, but not too far down the list, if I'm being completely honest, we see a frog. Okay, frog is small, representing my problems. And the frog, I said, was singing Katy Perry's Roar. That doesn't seem too aggressive, I guess. Heyun says, I'm with Paul Gaultieri from The Sopranos. That is the most important person in your life. You see 100 baby turtles. Uh-oh. Heyun, 100, that's a lot. That represents big problems in your life. But the good news is they are eating grass, which is not an aggressive behavior at all. So there you go. That's the meaning behind what you... how you answered that question for today. Just a bit of fun, obviously. Don't take that seriously at all. That'll do it for Steve Hatherly Reboot for this afternoon. Thanks so much for hanging out with me over the last couple of hours. Thank you to Melissa for today's Officially Amazing. Thank you to you, as always, for your listenership and your participation. I have been your host, Steve Hatherly, and I'll leave you with this today. Big Mountain, baby, I love your way. Enjoy that. Enjoy your day, and we'll reboot again tomorrow.